Welcome to this episode of Mastery Moment for LogMe and channel partners. This is a Sales Insight edition. Today, we'll walk you through a Rescue Live Guide discovery conversation. We will give you guidance on 4 question areas for a proper consultative discovery of this amazing co-browsing solution for support, contact, and sales centers. Hello, I'm Mark Schroyer, your host for today's Sales Insight edition. In this episode, we will share with you some critical discovery questions that should be asked when qualifying a prospect for the Rescue Live Guide product. If you're not familiar with Rescue Live Guide, here's a short 20-second elevator pitch about the product. Rescue Live Guide is a lightweight co-browsing solution that assists first-line support personnel in helping customers with web page form fills, navigation, or explanation where visual guidance is required. It dramatically improves the outcomes and efficiency of first-line customer and sales support where website assistance is required. Rescue Live Guide removes the traditional barriers of co-browsing technology, allowing the sharing of any web page on any device in a secure manner in seconds. If you review the show notes below in this YouTube video or click on this YouTube card, you will find a link to a 7-minute demonstration video that fully describes how Rescue Live Guide works in a support workflow. In today's episode, we will review the target markets, the personas, and the 4 questions that should be investigated before proposing the Rescue Live Guide solution. Let's start off with the target market. The target market for Rescue Live Guide is mainly moderate to high volume contact support and sales centers. These centers are often supporting e-commerce or product website queries in a reactive manner with inbound queries. There are also proactive configurations where a sales or customer success organization may use such a technology to assist with sales conversions and new customer onboarding. The focus of Rescue Live Guide is to provide rapid, over-the-shoulder support for web page usage. These can start with application form fill pages to configuration or setup operations to reading complex content, perhaps in a PDF file. The target personas or decision makers for Rescue Live Guide can be divided into workflows with reactive and proactive elements. Those responsible for reactive support include those that have direct responsibility of contact center performance. The titles of such individuals may include the Vice President of Customer Service, the Vice President of Customer Experience, or the Chief Customer Officer, the CCO. Those responsible for proactive support may include titles such as the Vice President of Sales or the Chief Revenue Officer, the CRO. It might also include the Vice President of Customer Success. Of course, there may also be some lower levels of management responsible in the areas of customer support, customer success, or sales. As a general rule, the IT organization is involved, but not a key decision-making entity in a purchase. Now let's talk about some of the question areas on which we should be focusing to determine if there is an earnest technical fit for Rescue Live Guide. There are 4 key areas for our questioning, which include, first, what is the nature of the web pages? What are the types of problems that customers experience? Second, how are these web page issues currently being supported? Third, what other types of co-browsing tools have been tested in the past? And finally, are there any security, logging, or deployment issues with co-browsing technology that might affect your organization? Let's review each of these briefly. To start off, what is the nature of the organization's website? Our goal is to fully see and understand the nature of the web pages, where the problems often occur, and how and by whom is the infrastructure managed over time. For example, is it an e-commerce website used to sell products? Or is the product itself a website? In other words, is it a something as a service? Or is the website part of a complex form fill, perhaps for a loan, insurance, or some other end service? How is the infrastructure maintained over time? Is this done internally or externally? Is there an effective feedback loop between the support or the sales organization and the team that maintains the website infrastructure. Looking at the current version of the web infrastructure, where do prospects or customers get held up? What has been done to simplify the web pages to avoid these issues, and what are the implications of this? We should also ask, from what types of devices are the users accessing these web pages? Are they from desktop PCs or Macintoshes, from tablets or iPads, perhaps from Chromium web devices or from smartphones? What is the percentage of access from each of these device types? Or is support provided for a mobile application without web pages at all? Is it an iOS or an Android application, or both? Who develops and maintains these mobile applications? At the end of this first discovery, we should have a high-level understanding of the prospect's infrastructure and how the infrastructure is managed over time. Next, we need to understand how these products are being supported. Our goal is to understand the current challenges and implications of the support process. We might start off by asking how support is provided. Is it by phone, by email, or perhaps by web chat? What is challenging about providing, as an example, telephone support? What does a conversation sound like? Is it filled with questions such as, what do you see now? Are you on our website? Which browser do you use? Or my favorite, what on earth is a browser? Is the communication challenging because of terminology? Or because of market segments that are not tech savvy? For example, the elderly segment over 60. With these questions, we also want to quantify the nature of the problem, looking at metrics such as first call resolution rates, average call hold time, and so forth. Ultimately, we should be able to quantify the nature of the problem in terms of hard support costs and soft opportunity costs related to customer experience. In the third area of our consultative discovery, we need to understand what other types of co-browsing tools have been tested in the past, and what were the shortcomings. Co-browsing tools have existed and have been sparingly used for nearly 10 years now. Unfortunately, they have not been easy to use nor implement. They often only work on a limited number of devices on websites that are completely controlled by the organization. It is important to understand the limitations of previously used or tested technology attempts in this area. For example, were all mobile devices supported in the last test? Were browser-only devices supported, such as Chromium devices, a Chromium book, for example? Was it possible to support the work on third-party websites? Were you able to place JavaScript snippets on your organization's websites or perhaps on third-party websites? Was that hard to do? Were more complex JavaScript-powered web interfaces with high levels of graphics or heavy manipulation supported? And finally, the fourth area where we need to ask consultative questions is related to security, logging, deployment, and compliance. Are there concerns related to co-browsing technology in these areas? For example, are there requirements for the masking of data fields or the blocking of buttons by the agent? Are there any requirements for compliancy of the logging of any co-browsing sessions? What is the expected setup time for a co-browsing pilot to test effectiveness? How complicated is it in your organization to make changes to web forms to comply with typical co-browsing security requirements? Has this been a surmountable hurdle in the past? Were there changes needed to your organization's website or other related third-party websites to ensure this level of security logging and compliance? So in summary, if you ask the right probing questions in these four areas, looking for pain and quantifying it, you're sure to quickly find a prospect that could immediately benefit from the virtual co-browsing functionality of the Rescue Live Guide product. That wraps things up for this brief introduction to the discovery questions for Rescue Live Guide. If you have further questions about Rescue Live Guide, see the link below in the show notes in the video for a brief walk through the product concept. We are also currently creating a discovery document including all of the questions from this video episode. It will be added shortly to the LogMeIn Exchange portal. You can also contact your assigned LogMeIn territory channel manager to get help with sales support with any suspect opportunities in your account base that come to mind. We hope that you found this Mastery Moment episode useful. If you did, please click the like button and consider subscribing. If you also click the bell icon, you will be notified so that you do not miss any future Mastery Moment episodes. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you in the next episode. This is Mark Troyer, signing off.